We're going to have Rob Dew, who knew Joe Stack, in studio the last 20 minutes. Bob Chapman with us for a few more segments. We're going to open the phones up for a few questions for Bob coming up in the next segment or on any of these issues. 1-800-259-9231. Now, look, the media's had a lot of different aircraft, but we have the tax records. It was a PA-28 Cherokee aircraft, a Piper. Is that a Piper? Registered owner, Stack Joseph A. Okay? That's the aircraft. The media was saying this Cirrus aircraft. That's not what it is. Now, here's the Texas Division of Emergency Management document. Give me a document cam shot on this, guys. Texas Division of Emergency Management, fiscal year 2010, training calendar, October 2009, September 2010. Here's February. They were running all these different emergency, multi-hazard emergency planning drills and others. And all the drills ended on the 18th, yesterday. So maybe that's why those vehicles were out there. Maybe it was just part of a drill, or maybe not. They normally run drills in association with this. Bob Chapman, going back to you, so much is happening with the economy separately. What happened with gold going down the last month, now surging up again?
Well, I think that's a good question. And, you know, we've just had gold negative news, supposedly. First of all, the situation in Greece was in the media interpreted as being bad for gold. And, of course, it really wasn't, because gold didn't go down. And then we had the IMF come out and said, well, we're going to sell some gold. And that turned out to be a non-event. And then, you know, higher interest rates has been touted as bad for gold. And gold went down and came back up again. And so gold seems to be impervious in here to the downside. And it's up 460 right now here in the late trading for the April month. And that'll go on for about another hour. The stocks are mixed to slightly weaker. And, you know, it's a Friday. People are evening up the books. And so it's hard to get a real read on it. But if I had to guess, I think gold will be up next week. And if it goes through 12, 20, 24 in that area, then we're going to very quickly see a move up toward 1,500 to 1,650. And if it doesn't happen by the beginning of April, it may very well happen before the end of the year. Although I think much more quickly, especially in view of what I said earlier about the problems being expedited. I don't think that Goldman Sachs ever thought that they would run into the buzzsaw that they're into right now because of their secret advice to these different nations and how to keep two sets of books. And, of course, it's against the law, but that doesn't mean anything for the likes of Goldman, Morgan, and Citi. I mean, these people are criminals. And I spent 28 years in Wall Street. I think I got a right to say that. And so I think that this is causing the illuminists behind the scenes to have to, even though they don't want to, expedite what they're doing. And every time you do that, you make mistakes. And I think by next year, all this thing's going to start coming down bad. And you know, as I mentioned earlier, were they to bring it down in October, down being the sovereign nations defaulting simultaneously and having chaos within the financial world worldwide, would give them an excuse not to have an election.
Bob, stay there. Let's come back and talk about that, because that's quite an announcement from you. A year and a half ago, you saw the implosion in 3 years. Now you may be revising. It is already the fourth and final hour of this Friday edition. Bob Chapman of the InternationalForecaster.com is our guest. I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. I want to say hi to all the great radio listeners out there and also the PrisonPlanet.tv viewers who are such key supporters of this radio show. You make it all possible. Now, Bob's going to be with us till 15 after. We're going to get more into the economy here in just a moment and have him continue with that question I just posed. He's saying he believes they may be moving up their time frame to fully implode things because every day they lose more credibility. And that's scary from Bob because he's always been, saying it's further out in the future. We'll talk about that coming up in the next segment briefly before he leaves us. Right now, let's take a few calls. It'll be on a bunch of issues. Alex in Canada, you're on the air.
It's Alex in Vancouver. I just want to say, I've had the gut feeling they're going to do something at the Olympics for a long time now, maybe about a year. I've always said you don't spend $1 billion in security and then not stage a terror attack. And now on the heels of this, I really feel that they're stirring up 9/11 memories, and everyone's thinking 9/11, 9/11. Well, they don't even have to say terrorism, but you're still thinking 9/11. And
because it's a plane into a building, yes.
Exactly. And ever since that article about 2 weeks ago by We Are Change Vancouver about possibility of a false flag, Kinder Morgan being bought out by Goldman Sachs and the Carlyle.
And now it's in a Canadian newspaper, and I meant to get to that they've caught police provocateurs again.
And they lost that 2 tons of ammonium nitrate mysteriously. Now, my big thing is I started thinking, now, when are they going to do this? And what I came up with is February 22nd, 222, because we all know they love to use silly numbers.
333-777-911.
And that being 3 days away, this happening right before that, they're stirring everyone's thoughts up about terrorism, 9/11, 9/11. Then all of a sudden on Monday morning, we'll see if I'm right or not. Hopefully not. I've gone as far as to bet people money this is going to happen. Now, I know that's kind of immoral or whatever.
Well, I hope you're wrong, but Alex, I appreciate your call. Let's get a comment from Bob Chapman on that.
We'll just have to see. The possibility certainly exists, and they are into numerology. And, I'm surprised that something didn't happen in Vancouver. And I know people who I talk to all the time who live there, and many of them, many subscribers there. And they say that it's like a guarded camp. And, the Olympics haven't gone over that well. The American Idol is outpointing them, so to speak, which is rather surprising. And it just hasn't drawn what the producers would have liked it to draw.
Well, people are sick of police states. Most Europeans won't come here now because of the police state.
Well, that's true. In fact, what's happening is that most Americans don't want to fly and only fly if they absolutely have to. And you can tell that because of the dropping amount of people who are using airplanes in America commercially. And the price of tickets continues to soar. They're up about, I would say, 40 to 50% over the last few years.
But see, we have the head of NASA Climate and the UN people and others saying they want to make us stop flying. They want us to stop driving. So there's some stratas of business that don't like it. Some big airline CEOs saying don't put the scanners in from Australia to the U.S. But the real head honchos, they love the fact that people aren't traveling. Your take on that, Bob?
Well, I can't figure that out. We're looking at a situation where if they're people who are running airlines and they don't want people to fly, they're not going to be in business very long. Now, if they're executives with other companies, well, that might be, the party line, so to speak, by the elitists. But
no, that's what I'm saying. The airlines, all of them are saying they don't like it on record. But Chertoff's got to make his little bit of money, so it's over.
Yeah, well, that's disgusting.
Chertoff, man, he looks like a vampire out of Nosferatu movie. I mean, literally.
Well, maybe we can cast him.
We ought to put a picture of Nosferatu up next to Chertoff. You can't, literally, it's like they're twin brothers or something. Bob, stay there. Let's get into the economy. Then after Bob leaves, just Ron, Jennifer, Fred, Dan, others, wide open phones. And then in the last 20 minutes, I'm going to have somebody who knew Joe Stack in studio here.